Imagine a realm of existence beyond the veil of matter, where the intricate tapestry of life and death is viewed not as a series of random occurrences, but as a meticulously orchestrated drama of continuous spiritual evolution. This is the profound vista opened by the investigations of Allan Kardec, who, through the patient and diligent study of communications from the spirit world, sought to illuminate the deepest mysteries of human experience. Among the questions that touch the very core of our being, questions that often leave hearts fractured and minds searching for meaning, is the challenging and sensitive topic of what truly happens to the soul of an infant whose earthly journey is cut short before or at the moment of birth. For too long, conventional wisdom has left this subject shrouded in painful ambiguity, offering little more than ephemeral hope. We stand now at the threshold of a revelation, a deeper understanding, rooted in the principles of universal justice and infinite mercy, principles that underpin the teachings contained within foundational spiritist works like the Spirit's Book. Prepare to journey into a narrative that replaces anguish with comprehension, sorrow with serene acceptance, and uncertainty with the unshakable certainty of eternal spiritual bonds. This script will systematically unfold the spiritist perspective on this vital matter, detailing the process of incarnation, the supportive mechanisms of the spiritual world, the enduring connections between souls, and the ultimate purpose of what we perceive as temporary separation. The process by which an incorporeal spirit links itself to a material body is one of the most fascinating and complex mechanisms revealed by the spirits to Allan Kardec, fundamentally redefining the moment we traditionally assign to the beginning of life. Far from being a sudden, instantaneous event that coincides precisely with the biological conception, the spiritual integration is described as an elaborate, measured, and gradual process, a delicate interweaving that extends throughout the entire period of gestation. The spirit, already chosen for that specific reincarnation and bound by ties of affection or necessary learning to the expectant parents, begins its slow descent toward material consciousness. It does not plunge immediately into the confines of the developing embryo, but rather initiates a subtle, energetic connection through the perispirit, that fluidic envelope which serves as the bridge between the immaterial spirit and the physical body. This initial bonding is akin to an anchor being cast, a tentative tethering that grows stronger as the physical form matures and develops. Imagine the divine wisdom inherent in this slow-motion process. The spirit, accustomed to the free, expansive, and high-vibrational reality of the spiritual spheres, requires this protracted adaptation period. It is slowly acclimatizing to the dense, restricting vibrations of matter, a necessary transition to cope with the profound shock of full materialization. This is why, according to the spirit testimonies, the spirit retains a significant degree of freedom during the early months of pregnancy. It is not yet fully encased or imprisoned by the physical shell. It can still move, observe, and interact with the spiritual world with greater ease than it will once the connection is complete. The spirits revealed that the attachment intensifies correlatively with the development of the fetal nervous system and brain, those delicate instruments through which the spirit will eventually manifest thought and will on the physical plane. This progressive fusion is meticulously overseen by highly specialized spiritual guides who ensure the process adheres to the evolutionary necessities of the incarnating soul. The critical transition, the definitive moment when the bond achieves its full, complete, and irrevocable state, is described as occurring with the first true, independent breath of the newborn. At this point, the spirit's connection to the physical vessel is sealed, and its mission on Earth fully begins. The understanding that the union is gradual, not immediate, is profoundly significant when considering the spiritual outcome of any premature interruption, for it speaks directly to the spirit's level of material entanglement at the time of its return. To comprehend the loss of an infant before birth through a spiritist lens is to move beyond the painful perception of randomness and injustice and to accept the broader, more complex reality of a meticulously ordered universe governed by divine laws of cause, effect, and love. The communications received by Allan Kardec emphatically revealed that occurrences perceived by humans as tragic accidents or unfortunate chance are, in the vast majority of cases, intricately woven elements within a larger, pre-established cosmic plan agreed upon by the souls involved. Before descending to Earth, every spirit in consultation with its spiritual guides and the souls designated to be its future parents, participates in the planning of its life experience. This planning process takes into account the spirit's evolutionary needs, the karmic debts it seeks to settle, the virtues it aims to acquire, and the specific assistance it must offer to its familial group. Sometimes, the spirit's brief, interrupted reincarnation is not a failure of the plan, but the plan itself. For the incarnating soul, a short stay might be precisely what is required, perhaps to gain a specific, powerful impression of the struggles of material existence without being fully subjected to decades of its limitations. It serves as a vital preview, preparing the spirit for a more successful and enduring incarnation later. Crucially, this experience is often reciprocal and mutual. The spirit may choose to offer this sacrifice, the short journey, to its parents. The parents, in turn, may need the profound emotional catalyst of temporary loss to awaken dormant spiritual sensitivities, to develop the virtues of resignation and unconditional faith, or to purify themselves through the intense experience of maternal or paternal love and sorrow. The spirits explained that the temporary nature of the relationship may be essential for the mother to develop deep maternal instincts in preparation for future successful motherhood, or for the couple to unify their efforts in overcoming a common trial, strengthening their spiritual bonds. Thus, the interrupted reincarnation becomes a profound act of selfless collaboration, where the spirit, motivated by love, helps accelerate the emotional and spiritual evolution of those it loves, proving that even the most difficult experiences serve the grand design of universal growth and perfect justice. The moment the link between the developing physical form and the spirit is definitively broken, whether through natural or deliberate means, the soul is not left bewildered, alone, or in any form of spiritual limbo. The spiritual doctrines clarified for Kardec that the return to the spirit world is characterized by an immediate, tender, and intensely loving reception. The infrastructure of the spiritual plane is vast and perfectly organized, possessing specialized mechanisms and resources to care for every returning soul, particularly those who have experienced a premature return. Upon liberation from the material connection, the spirit is instantaneously greeted and enveloped by its dedicated spiritual mentors and guardian angels. These highly evolved beings approach the returning soul with an understanding and compassion that transcends human comprehension. Their first task is to offer assistance and clarity, helping the spirit to fully detach from the physical plane and to immediately comprehend the purpose and significance of its short material experience. They gently remind the spirit of the plan it had agreed upon, providing the necessary reassurance that nothing was wasted and that the temporary detachment was part of the greater evolutionary blueprint. Furthermore, the spirits revealed the existence of specialized colonies or zones within the spiritual world, dedicated explicitly to the recovery, education, and repreparation of souls who have undergone interrupted or incomplete incarnations. These are not places of punishment or penance, but rather magnificent centers of healing and learning. In these sanctuaries, the spirits receive intensive care and spiritual education. Teams of specialized workers, often composed of souls who themselves underwent similar short incarnations and gained wisdom from the experience, assist the returning spirit in processing its recent experience. They help the soul assimilate the vibrational and material impressions it acquired, understand the lessons, and strategically plan the next steps in its journey. The spirit is thus not only comforted, but actively re-engaged in its evolution, using the newly acquired experience as valuable data for optimizing its future opportunities for reincarnation. This immediate and structured support underscores the spiritual world's commitment to individual progress and demonstrates the infinite mercy that governs all natural law. One of the most profound and consoling truths communicated to Allan Kardec concerns the fundamental nature of the spirit itself. Its consciousness is eternal, and its personal identity is indestructible. The spirit is the intelligent principle of the universe, and its essence is not contingent upon the physical body it temporarily inhabits. Consequently, a soul that experiences an interrupted incarnation does not lose its identity, its memories, or its unique personality upon returning to the spiritual plane. The concept of the spirit retaining its full consciousness is crucial, It means that the spiritual entity maintains every impression, every lesson, and every loving interaction it experienced, even during the fleeting period of gestation. The deep, visceral bond of love that began to form between the spirit and the parents during those months is not merely a biological phenomenon. It is a permanent, energetic, and spiritual connection. The spiritual entity that was preparing to be your child remembers the warmth of your anticipation, the tenderness of your thoughts, and the depth of your love. It carries the memory of your connection, fully intact, back into the spiritual world. This revelation completely reframes the tragedy of loss. The child you briefly held in your heart, the soul you anticipated bringing into the world, does not vanish into an anonymous spiritual mass. It remains a distinct individual spiritual entity, retaining the specific affinity and loving relationship it established with you. The love you poured out during that time was not futile. It was an investment in an eternal relationship. The spirit continues its evolution, but it does so fully cognizant of the parental bond. It continues to be your child in terms of spiritual affinity, affection, and mutual destiny, awaiting the proper moment and circumstance for a future, successful reunion. The persistence of consciousness transforms the perception of death from an absolute ending into a mere change of residence, ensuring that every genuine tie of the heart endures the test of physical separation. The teachings of Spiritism offer a majestic perspective on familial ties, viewing them not as temporal arrangements bound by physical lineage, but as eternal covenants forged across countless lives. For parents who have experienced the painful loss of a child before or immediately after birth, the reassurance is unequivocal. The spiritual bond established during the short incarnation is unbreakable and destined for completion. The loss is merely a temporary pause in a relationship that will resume in the fullness of spiritual time. The spirits revealed that the parents and the spirit often belong to the same group of kindred souls, entities who are evolving together, sharing experiences, settling mutual debts, and furthering their collective progress. The temporary separation caused by the interrupted reincarnation is part of the group's plan. Through the tireless efforts of spiritual coordinators, these kindred souls are strategically guided toward future re-encounters. It is common for the spirit who departed early to be given the opportunity to reincarnate with the same parents in a later gestation, when the conditions, both physical and spiritual, are more favorable for the successful execution of their mutual learning contract. Furthermore, the spiritual connection is actively maintained from the spirit realm. The spiritual children, fully aware of their bond, are said to dedicate themselves to supporting and comforting their earthly parents. They frequently attempt to communicate their well-being and persistent love through subtle spiritual means. These signals are not grand, dramatic apparitions, but quiet, pervasive impressions. A sudden, inexplicable wave of serene peace washing over the parent during a moment of intense grief, a dream of striking clarity and comfort that feels more real than waking life, or perfect synchronistic events in daily life that seem like personal messages tailored specifically to the parent's sorrow. By understanding that these spiritual bonds are eternal and actively maintained, the agonizing process of human grief can begin to transform from paralyzing despair into serene expectation, and the sense of emptiness is gradually filled with the comforting certainty of a future, joyful reunion, guided and ensured by the infinite wisdom of the spiritual law. Allan Kardec's methodology was one of rigorous documentation and analysis, treating spiritual phenomena with scientific sobriety. Among the voluminous records of mediumistic communications, there are deeply moving and instructive case studies where spirits who experienced interrupted incarnations returned to communicate their experiences, unequivocally confirming the purposeful nature of their brief journey. These accounts serve as powerful evidence that their premature departure was an act of selfless love and not a punishment. One such profoundly documented case involved a spirit who had only a few brief moments in the physical body, yet was able to communicate with astonishing clarity and detail years later. The spirit revealed that its rapid departure was chosen specifically to act as a profound spiritual catalyst for its parents. The sorrow of the loss, while agonizing, was the precise shock necessary to shatter the parents' material complacency and push them onto a path of spiritual inquiry, a path that eventually led them to the very teachings of Spiritism. The Spirit's short life was, therefore, a deliberate mission, a temporary sacrifice designed to awaken the souls of those they loved most, ensuring their own ultimate, eternal well-being. In these communications, the spirits often display a remarkable maturity and expanded perspective, proving that their chronological age is irrelevant to their level of spiritual evolution. They described observing the grieving process of their parents, accompanied by their spiritual mentors who carefully explained every human reaction to them. They affirmed that they were never alone or confused, but were active participants in a divine plan, often remaining close to the home in the spiritual sphere for months or even years, radiating peace and attempting to subtly infuse comfort and hope into the hearts of their sorrowing parents. These documented cases serve as the highest proof of the Spiritist doctrine. They illuminate the path of sorrow with the light of understanding, revealing that what appears to be a devastating end is, in fact, a crucial, sacrificial step in the evolution of multiple souls, planned and executed with perfect love. The messages were clear. The pain was the price of an extraordinary, brief privilege, and the love remains the eternal reward. The question of whether an interrupted pregnancy is natural or deliberate, spontaneous or induced, is approached in Spiritism with a nuanced understanding rooted in the law of cause and effect, karma, and the boundless compass of divine mercy. The spiritual communications emphasized to Kardec that the implications for the parents and the spirit differ significantly between the two scenarios, yet both ultimately fall under the umbrella of love and necessary spiritual learning. When the interruption is spontaneous, the result of natural complications, unforeseen health issues, or biological incompatibility, it is generally viewed as an event that was either explicitly written into the spiritual contract before incarnation or an unavoidable consequence of a material body being unsuitable for the spirit's mission. In such cases, the return of the spirit is considered a redirection, a wise intervention by the spiritual guides to prevent a failed, debilitating, or overly difficult life experience for the incarnating soul. The parents, though experiencing profound sorrow, are considered to have fulfilled their loving agreement to provide the material chance, and no negative karmic residue is attached to their loss. Conversely, when the interruption is deliberately induced, the law of cause and effect comes into sharper focus. This act, being an exercise of human free will that interferes with a spiritual process in motion, carries spiritual responsibility. The superior spirits explained that while this choice has consequences that will need to be addressed in future lives, consequences related to the denial of a body for a waiting soul, divine mercy is infinite. The spiritual world does not condemn or punish. It understands the profound complexities of human circumstances, the pressures, the lack of knowledge, and the intense emotional distress that often drive such a painful decision. The emphasis is always placed on repentance, growth, and the subsequent efforts toward restitution and spiritual advancement, rather than eternal condemnation. The spiritual guidance received by Kardec made it clear that understanding the law is the first step toward correcting errors, and that the path to spiritual balance is paved with love, compassion, and the development of conscience, not with vengeance. The spiritual anatomy of the incarnation process reveals a fascinating detail regarding the development of the bond between the spirit and the fetus. The energetic connection reaches its maximum intensity and becomes most definitive around the 7th month of gestation. This revelation, received by Allan Kardec, is crucial for understanding the varying levels of spiritual impact associated with the timing of a pregnancy's interruption. Before this 7-month mark, the spirit, though tethered by the fluidic cord of the perispirit, maintains a greater degree of spiritual autonomy. It is, in essence, an active observer, still largely operating within the framework of the spiritual world, while monitoring the development of its future physical vessel. During this early phase, the spirit's return to the spiritual plane, should the connection be severed, is generally described as more fluid, requiring less intensive spiritual intervention for readaptation. The spirit has not yet fully committed its essence to the physical form. This greater freedom explains why mothers often experience vivid, emotionally charged dreams or inexplicable intuitions during the 1st and 2nd trimesters. These are not merely biological side effects, but subtle communications from the spirit, which is in a state of semi-linkage, projecting its thoughts and presence into the mother's sensitive spiritual sphere. However, as the gestation progresses past the 7th month, the energetic investment by the spirit becomes significantly profound. The nervous system and the developing brain, having achieved a high level of complexity, become powerful attractors for the spirit's vital essence. The spirit is now much more firmly lodged within the perispirit, which is tightly molded around the physical body, preparing for the moment of birth. An interruption at this later stage represents a more significant upheaval for the spirit. While still not a death in the human sense, the spirit requires specialized assistance and deeper recovery in the spiritual colonies to fully shed the accumulated material vibrations and recalibrate its essence to the lightness of the spirit world. This knowledge provides a scientific, spiritual framework for understanding the emotional and energetic weight associated with the different stages of pregnancy. The highest expression of love and selflessness revealed by the Spiritist doctrine is the concept that the brief interrupted incarnation often serves a purpose far transcending the individual spirit or even the immediate family unit. The spirits conveyed that many souls willingly accept this temporary sacrifice to benefit the evolution of their spiritual group and sometimes humanity at large. This action is a profound spiritual choice, motivated by altruism and a desire to accelerate the growth of kindred souls. A primary role revealed for these short journeys is the powerful function they hold as spiritual catalysts. The intense, purifying grief experienced by the parents acts as a powerful lever, forcing them to reevaluate their material priorities and igniting a fervent search for deeper, transcendent meaning. The loss shatters the illusion of material permanence, pushing the individual toward an authentic spiritual awakening. The departed spirit from the invisible realm continues this work, acting as an angel of influence, subtly guiding the parents' minds and hearts toward charitable actions, self-improvement, and the acceptance of the principles of immortal life. Their brief passage, therefore, successfully fulfills a critical mission of spiritual enlightenment, serving a purpose that a long, ordinary life might have failed to achieve. Furthermore, every soul that undertakes such a sacrifice contributes invaluable data to the collective knowledge of its spiritual group. The experience of temporary entanglement with matter, even if brief, provides the soul with first-hand knowledge of the difficulties and challenges of material existence. This territory reconnaissance, as it were, arms the spirit with crucial wisdom. Upon its return, it is better equipped to act as a guide and helper for its companions in future, successful incarnations. The spirit becomes a specialized worker in the service of compassion and assistance, often choosing to focus its spiritual efforts on comforting and healing other parents who are traversing the same agonizing path of loss. In the spiritual economy, no experience, no tear, and no moment of love is ever wasted. All are meticulously integrated into the collective bank of evolutionary wisdom, serving the higher purpose of universal spiritual progress. The ultimate, most comforting truth derived from the spiritual communications to Allan Kardec is the triumphant, enduring nature of authentic love, which completely transcends the limitations of time, space, and physical death. The separation experienced on Earth is always temporary, and the love that bound the parents to their child is a cosmic force that guarantees an eternal bond and future reunion. The Spiritist revelation encourages replacing the human perspective of goodbye with the serene certainty of see you soon. The spirits described emotional and vivid scenes of joyous reunion in the spiritual world. Parents who have successfully completed their earthly journey are reunited with the children they had lost during gestation, and the happiness of that moment is said to infinitely outweigh the sorrow and temporary pain experienced during the separation on Earth. The love that was interrupted is then allowed to flourish in the pure, unrestricted environment of the spiritual sphere, completing the mutual contract of affection and learning. The vision of this assured future reunion serves as the most powerful antidote to grief, transforming the overwhelming sense of loss into a peaceful, faith-filled expectation. Moreover, the spiritual teachings underscore that this certainty of reunion should not be a blind faith, but one illuminated and solidified by rational understanding of the spiritual laws. When parents embrace this knowledge, their mourning process changes fundamentally. They cease to view the loss as a final tragedy and begin to comprehend it as a phase in a larger, continuous process. Their love, actively radiated through positive thoughts, prayer, and acts of charity in the child's memory, becomes a luminous cord that keeps the connection brilliant and active across dimensions. The greatest triumph of the spirit is to transform the pain of temporary separation into profound gratitude for the love shared and the certainty of eternal continuity. This mature understanding not only heals the individual heart, but makes that family a beacon of hope and serene resignation for all others experiencing similar challenges. The profound revelations unearthed by Allan Kardec, drawing upon the wisdom of the superior spirits, fundamentally reorient our understanding of life, death, and the temporary cessation of an earthly life before birth. We have moved from a place of painful mystery to one of informed serenity. We understand now that the spirit's union with the body is a gradual, delicate process, that every life, no matter how brief, is purposeful and part of a greater cosmic plan, and that the spiritual world possesses a vast, loving infrastructure dedicated to the care and repreparation of every returning soul. We are comforted by the knowledge that the spiritual identity and bond of love remain utterly intact, guaranteeing eternal connections and future reunions. The temporary sacrifice often serves as a powerful catalyst for the spiritual awakening of the parents, demonstrating the highest form of love. This spiritual wisdom transforms the agony of loss into a profound understanding of divine justice and boundless mercy. Love, the true eternal currency of the universe, is never extinguished. It merely transforms, expands, and continues its relentless work of uniting souls across all dimensions of existence. May this narrative bring enduring peace to your mind and an unshakable faith to your heart, assuring you that the divine symphony of life, though sometimes pausing, always plays on, with every note of love preserved for all eternity.